Well, good morning, folks. I want to make a little video here. I make these little adapters like this. This is an old 331 Hemi, Chrysler Hemi distributor. And this is a new small block Mopar distributor. What I do, I sell these adapters here that basically fit over this shaft and make this distributor fit the early Hemi motors. There's a little difference between a 394, which is 4.5 inches long, and 331 354, which is 4.25 inches long. This sheet here is one of the things I sell with the adapter. So basically what has to happen, got these set here. This shaft here is about 3/8 of an inch too short. They're not really exactly the same. I'm just laying them here for example. So what has to happen is I have to measure this length here, cut this shaft so that the adapter will fit on it, drill a hole for the roll pin, and then pin it to the shaft, and then I'll sell this as a brand new distributor, ready to go into early Hemi motor. So this is basically the sequence that somebody would have to do if they want to install this adapter on a new distributor. And it's also just a video of how I made this distributor for sale. I'll put this up on eBay. First thing we'll have to do is measure what we've got and then start cutting. Now, the first thing I did, I just put a bar here on the two distributors, so both of them are pulled up against the bar. They are roughly parallel, within a degree or so. But I'm going to measure this one distributor. I've got a dial caliper here. I'll get back a little bit. So I'm going from the mounting surface of the distributor to the edge of this 1, 2, 3 block in the center, and it shows that we have, get it right side up here, 4 to about 94. 4 to 94 is what the thing is. Check this again and make sure that this is the right length. So from mounting surface to the end of the distributor, it's still the same, 429 thousandths roughly. And of course, according to the drawing that I provided here, it's 4.25, so I'm within 10 thousandths of having it right, and that's probably just an error in measurement between this block here. The next thing I'm going to do is take this distributor, the new Hemi distributor, and I put this adapter on it. Let me take this pin out of here to make sure that it goes on all the way and I'm getting a good measurement. Alright, I've put the adapter on the new distributor shaft. I'm putting my dial calipers in here. I've got it set, and this says that it's 4.740. So I'll just subtract these two figures. Alright, so we got 4.74 for the new distributor length. It's the early Hemi 331 354 is 4.25, so I would have to cut off 490 thousandths. What I'm going to do is actually make this distributor where it'll fit either a 394 or a 351. So I'm going to cut this to the shorter length for the 354, which is wherever that is. I cut a ½ inch off of the shaft. It's not that critical, except that if you're going to be drilling a hole and just stick the distributor in the shaft all the way, then it needs to be an accurate cut. It can be shorter than that, but you have to somehow get this distributor to the right length before you drill a hole. So what I'm going to do is actually drill 2 holes in it. I'm going to drill 1 hole so it'll fit the 394, which is your longest shaft, and I'm going to drill another hole which fits the 331 and 354. So the ½ inch here are the 490 thousandths, which is close enough to ½ inch. Will work for the 331, and then I'll have to drill another hole 1/4 inch longer in the shaft, and so this adapter will also fit the 394. So the first thing we're going to do is cut the shaft off. Now what I've done here, I just set my calipers to ½ inch. I sprayed this with little marking dye, and then all I have to do is just score it there, and you can see my little mark here. That's a ½ inch. So it looks like they put a pretty long tang on this small block Mopar distributor, but it's really not going to be that critical. I probably ought to mark this flat section a little more here, just so I can get a more accurate cut. Not that it's important, because anything between this line here and the edge of the distributor will be fine, but I just being a machinist, I kind of like to have a good cut. So this stuff is Dykem steel red. It's just a layout dye. It really goes on heavy, so that's plenty right there. I wind up getting it all over everything, but that'll dry in a few minutes, and then I'll scribe a line on it, and then I'll just cut that tang off of there, and I've got enough dye up here that I'll be able to mark whatever hole that this thing's going to take, and I can use a little center punch and mark the 2 holes that I need to drill, and then I'll chuck it in the lathe over here and drill these holes. Alright, I scribed a ½ inch line on it there. Got plenty of dye up the shaft, so I'm just going to take a electric cut-off tool, cut that off, just clamp it in the vise and whack it. You could do this with a hacksaw or anything that you have that'll cut through this. It's not tempered steel, so it'd be kind of hard to cut one of those, but the distributor shaft is fairly soft metal, so you either cut it with a hacksaw, or I'll just use a cut-off tool because it's much faster. Alright, I just cut it off there, deburred it a little on the edge so that the adapter will go over it. Zoom out here a little bit, and it's going over it fine. I'll just tap it on here a little. Alright, there's the bottom. I'll just throw my little 1, 2, 3 block on here and check it again. Let's see. Kind of doing this left-handed. Let me switch hands. Alright, so just roughly here, this is about 4.2 inches. So 4.2 inches, 4.190, and the maximum length that I could have here would have been 4 1/4. So what I have to do is move this out about 1/4 of an inch for the 331 and a little bit more for the 354. So I'm going to measure the total shaft length, get it right, mark the hole, and then I'll drill those 2 holes. Now an easy way of doing this, of course, is just turning the 2 distributors so they're inverted. I have the tang of the old distributor up against the edge here, and tang of the adapter against the mounting surface there. But basically we want to use, you know, something to measure it with and make sure that we have the right distance. I'm just eyeballing this right now. It looks like it's maybe a 1/16 of an inch too short, and that's exactly what I had when I measured this. This caliper still set from the thing, so I moved it out about a 1/16 of an inch. Let me see if I can just eyeball a good measurement here. Where we got, that looks pretty right there. And this is telling me 4.280, and I need 4.25, so just by guesswork I've got it within 30 thousandths. It's not really guesswork at this point because I know exactly that it's the right length of an old 354. But if you're trying to measure it, that's what you would do. You'd put up some kind of a, something like a 1, 2, 3 block. Anything that's going to give you a straight measurement across here, like what I'm doing with the caliper here. So let me just measure this. And alright, that's about exact, and I've got 4.30. so what I would really want is 4.25, so I'm 50 thousandths a little too long here, which 50 thousandths is so small that you'll never notice it, and there's probably 50 thousandths of error in my measuring, but that's not going to really make much of a difference. You probably got an 1/8 of an inch there, as long as it's not too long. If you have it too long, then it's going to hit the bottom of your oil drive. Having it a few thousandths or even a 1/8 of an inch too short, it's not going to hurt you very much. Ideally you'd have a perfect length, but the one thing that you don't want to do is get it too long, because it'll bottom out in the oil drive, and then when you tighten up your distributor you're going to put a lot of load on the bearings in here and really bind it up. So if anything, you want to make your total distributor length just a hair under where it should go. Alright, I don't know if you can see down in there, but I put a drill bit in that's the size it needs to be drilled. I've got it here in a lathe chuck, and I just put it in there and turned it, which marked my Markham die. You could do the same thing if you had a center finder or basically anything that you had. You just have to mark that shaft there so you can drill a hole for the pin. Of course, now here what I'm using a lathe to drill with. This tailstock adapter basically centers the drill bit into any kind of a round stock. I've got it perfectly on line. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed or not. turn it on and see. Yeah, it's holding. So now I just feed it in with my other hand, and you can see it's drilling quite nicely into the shaft there, and this will give me a perfectly centered straight hole. If you're doing this by hand, you would probably want to put the adapter on it and then drill through the adapter. But since the lathe is set up drill on center, I have no trouble doing this. But I want to shut this off for right now because I'm going to use both hands. I have to hold the distributor and some other things. Alright, so now I have a hole drilled through the shaft perfectly on center. I'm just going to take a reamer here and deburr it a little in this hole so the pin will go through, and then I'll put put the adapter on it and recheck the distance. Alright, I put the adapter on it. Looks fine. I took my dial calipers here, checked the measurement, and it looks like I'm about 4/215, and my maximum length was 425, so I'm 10 thousandths shorter than what it needed to be, which is plenty for clearance. You know, that's what the sheetness of 3 or 4 sheets of paper. So that hole's done for 331. Now I'll drill another one for 354. So I have to put some more red layout dye on it, mark another hole, and do the same thing. Alright, the 394 is 4.5 inches. I've got my caliper set up here. I've got it 490 thousandths. So I'm about 10 thousandths under. That means that it'll fit the 394. You can see the die there inside there, so I'll do the same thing. I'll mark the center of that hole, drill it again, and that second hole will be the setup for a 394 instead of 351. Alright, I got that marked. See if I can zoom in here a little. Yeah, you can see it. Right there is the center line mark. Right here is my my shaft, and if you notice they're looking and not looking at the camera, if you notice they're perpendicular. One hole goes this way and this one will go this way. It's not necessarily critical that they're exactly perpendicular to each other, but it would tend to lose some strength if I was to drill a hole across this way instead of perpendicular to the other hole like this. So now I'm in the same deal. I'll just chuck this up and put it in the lathe and drill another hole. Alright, so there it is. Got 2 holes drilled in it. One for a 354 and one for a 331. Or sorry, 331, 354, and one for 350, whatever, and one for 394. Since the most popular is a smaller block, I'm going to assemble this with the adapter for the short one. But first I'm going to check to make sure that the 394 is the correct length. Alright, we got it assembled with the hole there for the pin. Check this with my V-block in place. Looks like it's 443, and what we need was 453, so I'm 7 thousandths under, which will clear the oil pump. So it's going to be good for the 394. Now I'll just go ahead and pin it for the 331 and I'll be done with this. Alright, there's our finished product with the old Hemi distributor and the new small block Mopar face to face, and it looks like I have got a couple thousandths in there, so the new one's just a hair shorter than the old one. It means it'll fit in without binding, and we've got a done product here. All I have to do is put the cap and everything there back on it and put it up on eBay. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. I used the lathe to drill a hole. I could have made a little different video, I guess, of using a drill and a V-block, but this is just for information of people buying these adapters. Maybe you need to do something like this. There are some other lathe videos of showing how to make the adapter itself, and but this is for somebody that maybe doesn't have the right tools or are not sure of their ability to get them in the right place or drill straight. This is be just a ready to run drop-in distributor. Thanks a lot for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.